Hey there, it's JP Bailey again. This is video 2. As promised, I'm doing a video about my inner peace process, and in this video we're going to talk about the next step, which is bringing up your resource states. So I wanted to start teaching the inner peace process and how we can use it for complex PTSD and complex trauma and the cycle of dysfunction and having inner turmoil, reaching for outside things don't work, and then we kind of go in a downward spiral. And the first step is learning tools to deal with the inner conflict. So going within and dealing with your inner conflict, inner emotions, unconscious parts of you that are getting triggered and generating reactiveness and things like that. Shut my window. All the birds are out, and some fell out of the trees, and a bunch of neighbors are freaking out about them out there. So I thought I would do the first example on guilt, especially guilt for going no contact, because that's a very common thing I see that really makes it hard for people to go no contact. It just kind of tortures them mentally for years at times, or it can get triggered and just kind of start all over again. Guilt is a big one for complex PTSD, because we now trying to take action on the outside of our life. If it doesn't match these inside programs, there's conflict, and we get all upset and hold ourselves back. And some of us don't get it, some of us get it but don't know what to do about it, and some just kind of push through however we can, getting support. At least there's a lot of support and awareness these days in certain circles among people who have the narcissistic abuse syndrome and are trying to do some healing and recovery. So the inner peace process is a wonderful tool and technique to help with the healing and recovery process, because it teaches you to go within and deal with your guilt within. So in the first video, we talked about how to do that by feeling your upset. Where do you feel it in your body? What shape is it? What color is it? See, these questions force the mind to go within the inner mind, your inner eye, so to speak, your inner sight, to take a look at it, to pay attention to it, to listen to what it sounds like, to get a sense of the weight, to feel what temperature it is. This brings you automatically into a mindfulness state, and you're mindful about your somatic markers, basically body sensation. So where you feel your upset in your body is the first step to the inner peace process. So where is it? And then you answer the first 5 questions, which is in video 1. And then I asked you to just use your imagination and put that in your left hand so that you could start communicating with it. This is a way to communicate with your inner unconscious parts, unconscious, subconscious, whatever you want to call them, your inner parts. They could be shadow parts, disowned parts. Well, we also have good parts. We have resource states. We have resource parts of us. So what I do after the left hand, we ask, are you willing to communicate? If it says yes, we ask, what does it want? We further dig in a little, and say, well, are you trying to do something for me? And you just sort of notice and listen and see what comes up in your own mind. And usually you get some insights there, and you get to hear what this problem wants. So we set the left-hand side and that problem to the side, because it's like, okay, we've communicated, we've identified it, and we know what it wants, and we know the trigger that it creates in us. So now stage 2 is going over to the right hand, and what we're going to do is just simply call up resource states and put them, or imagine we're putting them in our right hand. Now this is surprisingly, deceivingly simple, because all you're really doing is saying 9 different words You say each word and pause a few seconds and just imagine putting that state, that word, or that feeling into your right hand. So to make it a little easier, I went ahead and wrote down the resource states. Okay, so with your right hand, I want you to put your love there. Your love for anything you love now or in the past. It could be your favorite dog. It could be you love doing something. You love nature. It doesn't matter. You just put your sense of love there. And you just pause a few seconds. Then you say the next word. Put my strength there. You think of times you had strength. Get a sense of strength. Then you put your courage. Times you were scared, but you pushed through anyway, or you did something that was scary, but you were brave. You had courage, your sense of courage. Then centeredness, like literally imagine the core of your body centered and grounded on the earth. And then gratitude. I like to linger with gratitude. All the things you're thankful for. The roof over your head, the food, friends, surviving, just everything you're grateful for. And then put your faith. Now this can be faith in a higher power, faith in yourself, faith in life, faith in love, universal love. It doesn't matter, but your sense of faith. Then put all your energy there in your right hand. Put all your power there, the power to act. We all have some power. And then lastly, you put your compassion there. Compassion for others, but more importantly, self-compassion. Having compassion for yourself, for all the things you had to go through. Compassion for yourself, for having this issue generated in your body that we put in the left hand. For having that upset and these triggers and going through just compassion for yourself. Okay, so now we basically have the left hand with the problems and the right hand with the resource states. Now we've got two parts of ourselves plus our main self sitting here in the chair. So we can be like a third witnessing kind of party, or like our true self is here and we're helping these two parts communicate with each other. Our goal is to get them to work together. Now there's two routes you can go. First, we ask the left hand, are you willing to work together with the right hand to solve your problem, to get what you said you wanted, but without the negative feelings being generated? And you have to really pause a minute or two and see if it says yes, no, maybe. You might get a clear no. You might get a clear yes. Maybe I'm a little scared, nervous, but I kind of want to. So you're looking for the yes. If you get a no, you stop right there and you go to the next step for the no, which is you smack your hands together just like that. Smacking the hands together automatically collapses the anchor of the negative, because positive and negative can't stay in the same space at the same time. You collapse the negative, which is actually a falsehood. Only the truth can remain once you have identified the two things, the problem and the resource. Resources are more truthful about you. So this smacking your hands together collapses the anchor. You might want to sit quietly for a few seconds. I like to shake my hands out and just, open my eyes and look around the room and just come back to the present here now and come out of that within state, Then revisit the problem of the guilt and revisit the number. It was an intensity. It could have been guilt for no contact. It was intensity like 9. Okay, what is it now? Most of the time there's a sense of relief. The number's gone down drastically. And sometimes that's enough. And sometimes, you just go, do another session later on another issue that might come up. You might just end there. If the left hand says, yes, I'm willing to work together, then you instruct it to just imagine that the left hand is dumping over to the right hand all the problems from the past, from the roots to the leaves to the branches, all the different things this problem's connected with, all the times you've had this problem, just unconsciously it's kind of dumping it, doing a brain dump over to the right hand. And the right hand is strong enough to handle all that and loves to get all that, because with those resources you're going to ask it to come up with some ideas to help you move forward, and to ideas to help the left hand deal with this problem. And so once you get a sense of like that's kind of done, which just takes a few moments, then you just basically suggest or direct that the two hands start to move towards each other, and just gently go ahead and come together and hold each other. And that symbolizes the two parts working together and actually becoming fused and integrated, like a super part, a new super part moving forward. That's why they call this parts integration in NLP, or the Neuro-Linguistic Programming trainings. So now you have your two parts integrated into a super part, and basically it's done, and you go to the next little stage, which is future pacing out. You want to future pace at least the next 2 steps that you're going to take in the near future, now that this problem's been resolved. And the healing will continue to happen unconsciously for probably the rest of the day or two, and while the right hand continues to kind of come up with new ideas. But in the moment, you want to ask yourself, now that that's resolved, what's the first thing I'm going to do? And you just pause and see what comes up. You're listening to your inner wisdom. You're not trying to come up with the answer in your mind. Not your conscious mind is not trying to figure this out. You're asking, your mind is just compelled to go look for an answer. If something comes up, you want to notice and listen what comes up. First thing I need to do is, continue with my no contact. Maybe I'll journal or share about this experience and process why the guilt just doesn't fit anymore, and that, I want to do something instead. Whatever it is, okay? And then you just ask one more time. So after you do that, what's the next thing you're going to do that you may see yourself doing in the near future, maybe in the next week or so, even the next month down the road? What's the next thing? And so the next thing might be, well, I'm going to go ahead and go for that job I really wanted, or I'm going to go ahead and socialize somewhere I've been resisting, or I'm going to go ahead and do whatever that guilt was holding you back from doing it. Or, like I said, you just basically let your mind come up with the answer, and you take note of it, write it down, because these are things you're activating behavior and you're future pacing it out. So you want to not only heal the problem, bring in the resources to move forward, future pace and activate your actions. So you do get into a movement. You physically moving forward and having something to do helps this whole healing integrate into the rest of your system. You can even do what's called an ecology check and ask, is there any part of me that objects to this healing or resolution and moving forward? If so, you repeat the whole inner peace process technique again on that particular issue, or do some tapping on that particular issue. But basically, that sums up the inner peace process. You also want to then, come back to the room and kind of look around, shake your hands out, and just stop for a second, and then go back to that original guilt again and visit and see, do you still feel guilty? Usually I hear people saying, heck no, they deserved it. I'm supposed to be taking better care of myself. This is what I want to do, and so forth. So it's become resolved, plus there's a huge emotional relief. So this is a very powerful tool. It only really takes a few minutes. Do it a few times. You kind of get used to doing it. So I'll do some more videos on it, write some cheat sheets, things like that. If you have any questions, just jot them down, let me know either on Facebook or YouTube, because I plan on doing some more.